Okay, we got the greatest lightsaber duel no one talks about from Kurt Hagens, I think. I hope I said that right. Okay, let me see.
When people talk about the best Star Wars lightsaber fights of all time, what usually gets mentioned? If you like the
I mean, literally every lightsaber fight is good for its own reasons. I mean, outside of the, what do you call it? The episodes 7, 8, 9, outside of those, like episode 1 through 6, for the most part, every lightsaber duel has like some sort of meaning behind it or is like flashy in some way, shape, or form. Uh, but like I said, 7, 8, 9, eh.
crazy choreography, and as a massive prequel fan, I do. It's the Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus
Oh
Darth
yeah,
Maul in The Phantom Menace, or Battle of the Heroes, Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith.
oh
If you
yeah.
want emotional stakes, it's probably either of the Luke versus Vader battles, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi. And all of those are
Mm-hmm.
fantastic choices.
Oh
But
yeah.
what if I told you that my favorite lightsaber duel is from a show you might not have seen or even heard of? Clone Wars. No, not The Clone Wars, but Clone Wars, the unfortunately non canon 2003 micro series.
Oh my god, this shit was so good because it forced the storytellers and animators and whatever and everybody to, they only had like so many minutes of show to get through, but they had to tell a lot of story in those like few minutes, however long each episode was. So the whole phrase of show don't tell actually had some like weight in this little tiny micro series.
Is one of my favorite Star Wars projects ever, and it is criminally underrated and underseen. There are many great things about it, but one of the shining examples is the Anakin Skywalker versus Asajj Ventress fight. Guys, this
Oh,
battle is
okay.
incredible, but I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. So, do
Ah.
yourself the favor, watch it or watch the whole show. It's only like 2 hours long and it's
Oh
on
yeah.
Disney Plus. Then come back to this video. There is not a single lightsaber fight that I rewatch more than this one. I remember my mind being completely blown watching this for the first time on TV as a kid when it first came out. But first, I want to establish a little bit of context.
Mm-hmm.
Asajj Ventress is a super interesting character, and
Oh
we
yeah.
all know that now, but at the time, we knew very little about her. Still, I was immediately drawn to her. Interestingly enough, in early drafts of Attack of the Clones, a female Sith was being considered in what ended up being the Count Dooku role.
And this is how you do a good female character. Asajj was awesome. So like at the time, it kind of felt like she was like the rival of Anakin because she was on her own like come up, much the same way as Anakin was on his own come up. Type of what do you call it? Like what's like the Sith version of Padawan? Uh, it's not like Sith Youngling or something. I forgot, but they're about at the same level, and both of them had a very strong like mental drive, like will to like just get better, be better. I gotta prove myself to my master type of deal, and it was cool to see like two of like the equal force. It's like, what do they say? When unstoppable force meets immovable object, it was like that type of thing, vibe going on.
They liked the idea so much that they brought it back and ended up using her as an underling of Dooku in the aforementioned 2003 micro series, and then again, of course, in The Clone Wars. But in this version, she first appears in the first act of Volume 1, or in chapters 6 and 7 of 20 as they were coming out at the time, on the planet Ratatak, or Ratatic. To be honest, I've only ever seen that word written, absolutely annihilating all different kinds of adversaries in an arena, mostly with sheer Force abilities, only using her lightsabers at the very end. And she does have 2 lightsabers, which is awesome. And she gets...
So, like, one thing that you could question about the whole Asajj Ventress thing is, like, was she a Mary Sue type of, like, female character? Like, she just came out of nowhere and she's just good? I don't remember because I haven't seen this in a while, but one could easily argue that that is how, like, remember, like, the Sith Rule of Two thing? I mean, one could easily argue that that's how Darth Maul came into play. Nobody knew anything about Darth Maul, like, when the movie first came out. He was, what's, like, the Mary Sue version for dudes? I forgot. Whatever. It just, shows up out of nowhere, is just auto good at everything, doesn't got to train, no nothing, whatever. That's, like, I think it's okay for, like, the Sith to be, like, just auto good, and, like, they just spawned out of nowhere. It's like, oh, the new enemy appeared. I mean, it's great if you can tack on some story behind it to give it a little more, like, spine for the character. But I think Asajj was fine.
Brand new red ones after this little 2-episode arc. It was an incredibly impressive showing and served as sort of a showcase for Dooku. I latched onto this character right away and thought she was super cool. I even remember getting the action figure. She gets a little too big for her britches, though, as Dooku easily dismantles her in a duel, showing that she still has much to learn.
That's your basic, like, master-learner type of relationship.
Then has a meeting with Sidious to discuss her assignment, which is to kill Anakin Skywalker. It serves as a test for both characters, mainly for Anakin. Palpatine, or Sidious, assumes that Anakin is going to win, and he believes it is a test for him. However, if somehow Ventress is able to defeat him, she can then take his place as Sidious's future apprentice.
Ooh.
But Sidious is fairly confident that Anakin will win.
So he was essentially just setting her up for failure from the beginning.
We won't have to worry about that. The build-up to this fight is incredible, especially considering how little time they had to do it. These episodes were very short. We got introduced to Ventress, we like her, we think she's cool, and we are already invested in Anakin and his journey. The first half of Volume 1 ends with a new fighter arriving to the space battle that Anakin is fighting in, and the second half begins with a dogfight between them, and then Anakin ends up chasing her around the city. She is a match for his piloting skills, and he senses that she is very strong in the Force. He has fallen for the trap. He chases her all the way to Yavin 4, where the fight is to take place. I remember leading up to this, one of my friends in my 3rd grade class had this hot take that Anakin was going to lose to Asajj Ventress.
Really?
I know he thought he sounded cool, but dude, he literally becomes Darth Vader. Of course that's not going to happen.
I mean, yeah. Like, bro, when I was, like, that young back in the day, I was just excited to be able to catch the little micro series episode of the day back then. I didn't have any hot takes when I was, like, 10 or 11, 12.
Still, as a little kid who didn't think much about continuity, there was some doubt in my mind, building incredible hype and suspense and anticipation for this fight. Still, we had no idea just how unforgettable this battle would be. The clones that Obi-Wan sent to Yavin 4 to help Anakin get picked off by Ventress one by one, and she does so without even revealing herself. It's very horror-esque. She even kills this version of R4, which I remember being pretty sad about at the time, all to get to Anakin.
Oh, damn. She killed, well, not killed, but, like, she destroyed the R4 unit. That's crazy. Bro, I forgot about this, because it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a robot, but, like, for the audience, you're supposed to attach yourself to be like, oh, that was, like, Anakin's friend. but Anakin's not supposed to have any feelings towards like anybody else. Even more so, a robot that can't like reciprocate anything. It's just a robot. But there's still something from the audience where you're like, oh.
In for the fight of his life, and we are so ready. As the fight begins, the insane choreography and impeccable animation are very noticeable right off the bat. The attention to detail in this battle is insane. Visually, this battle has aged incredibly. I will always prefer 2D hand-drawn animation over CGI. Not only is every single lightsaber strike perfectly thought out, they fight so fast and you cannot find a single flaw. But the backgrounds are so perfectly thought out as well, and they make good use of that to keep the fight interesting. Cutting the tree, Ventress forcing logs at Anakin to distract him, Anakin fighting off those logs, then getting hit by one, Ventress hiding in the trees, then forcing the branch that Anakin was on, then cutting the vine that he hangs onto.
Like, look at the detail right here. The lightsaber's smoking because of the rain. Like, damn, dude. That's just like both of them emanating aura right there. Like, why haven't we gotten like a lightsaber fight in the rain in the movies? Is it because it would be too tough to like CGI all the smoke and shit or the steam coming off of the lightsaber in the rain? I mean, bro, like animators can do this, and you're like, come on, dude.
Fighting while force jumping across the trees, then while in the air.
Bro, this was the how long? This was the 15-minute Mustafar fight before the 15-minute Mustafar fight was the Mustafar fight. He's trying to do the fucking like a swing across the vine, lightsaber in the other hand tactic. He's trying it out here, and it's kind of funny to think about it. To think that on the Mustafar fight, in his head, he's thinking, "Oh, line. I've done this before in the jungle. I'll do it again right here." But if that's the case, wouldn't he remember to be like, "Oh, if I jump on the line, it could just get cut." No, but Obi-Wan's my friend. He won't cut it. That's like dishonorable. He'll just like come at me like sword clashing and shit. Oh my god, that's so funny. And then Ventress is just like, nope.
Ventress forcing rocks at him. Going along with that, I absolutely love the use of the Force in this battle.
Yeah, it's so good.
From Ventress, especially in the beginning.
It's very, what do you call it? Like improvised. It's not like overblown, like, you know, when you have like Starkiller ripping down a gigantic Star Destroyer, or like Darth Vader trying to cling onto like what was it, like one of those big ass ships as it's like trying to fly away. Because, you know, they're not like Jedi Master and Sith Master. They're just like in the learning phase still, so they can manipulate the Force, but in like little like grounded type of ways.
She is an incredibly talented Force user. Aside from the aforementioned using the surroundings to her advantage, she also breaks Anakin's Force barrier multiple times and forces him back with two...
Bro, he just getting Force push left and right. Anytime he goes for the up, whatever the fuck that is, she's just like, you're retarded. Voop. That's the second time.
Fingers.
Like he doesn't learn.
She has to do it that way because she uses two lightsabers, so she doesn't really have a free hand. And that is one of my favorite parts of this duel. Always thought that was super badass. Anakin starts using the Force more as the fight goes along, though, forcing her into the temple, then forcing the water in the temple onto her. Such a small blink and you miss it moment, but so memorable. Then forcing the pillar that Ventress forced at him back at her. She force slams him into the wall. Then he forces her all the way up the stairs. Another great detail is...
Bro, if you actually think about how complicated a lightsaber fight can get with like force, push, pull, with just like, it can get so complicated with just force, push, and pull. Okay, with like, oh, is he gonna push me? Is he gonna pull me? And then on top of it, you're worried about like just normal sword fighting, like kendo style, is complicated enough with like all the different directions and shit that you can fight with. And she's got two lightsabers, then Anakin's only got one, and that's complicated enough. And then all of a sudden you can like implement, yeah, like even like force jump, force speed, or whatever. This shit can get like super complex with just minimal um like like sprinklings of just basic force powers. But yet Disney has still yet no idea how to make a good lightsaber fight.
How battered the characters become throughout this fight. You see visually the toll that it has taken on them. Ventress's
Another pillar.
clothes get super ripped up, and Anakin loses his tunic and is completely down to his undershirt. They really beat each other up in a way that you don't really see in any other Star Wars lightsaber duel.
I mean, true. I mean, you kind of got an inkling of it with like the Mustafar fight, but like it's still not even on the same level because they're like Jedi robes go through like a little evolution of like battle torn, war torn with like the lava, the heat, little fire bits and whatnot. But still, nobody's taken any shots. Nobody has taken anything. Nobody's gotten hit. Nobody's been impacted yet. But this, like, oh my god. I mean, even compared to like the good lightsaber fights, it's like this one. Like, I had no idea. Like, I saw it, but I was like, when I saw it, I was like a little kid. Like comparing that animated fight of like Ventress versus Annie, it's starting to look like night and day at this point.
Another highlight of this duel is the changing settings. They start in the jungle on the ground, then they go up into the trees, then Ventress leads Anakin towards the Massassi Temple, which may have actually backfired on her. More on that later. It starts storming, which both visually and audibly signify the fight going to...
Oh yeah, look at it. The camera even does a fucking slow pan on the lightsaber. Like, guys, look at the physics. Look at the steam. This is what would actually happen.
To the next level. The rain hitting the lightsabers is an awesome detail. I can't think of any other lightsaber duel having something like that.
I'm trying to think. Did in episode 2 where you had Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett and then they had like a little scuffle or some shit and you know, he's out in the rain or they're both out in the rain. I'm trying to remember. Was there steam on Obi-Wan's lightsaber? Or did his shit get like ripped? I remember he dropped it or something or got ripped away somehow. I can't remember if he like actually activated it. By the time he activated it, it's like, oh, Django's far away or whatever in the ship. It's like, dang it. Like that would be like the only time where you see like a lightsaber in the rain, but like this is like good.
Then once they actually enter the temple, the rain dripping through sounds like Darth Vader breathing, an incredible audio cue that also serves as great foreshadowing for Anakin's future and how this fight will end.
Oh shit.
The lightsabers lighting up the characters in the temple, man, so many little details just bring this fight to the next level. The first clash of Anakin and Ventress's lightsabers in the temple is legitimately one of my favorite shots in Star Wars history.
That's a good shot.
Gorgeous looking fight, especially in the second half. The constantly changing dynamics, settings, and backgrounds prevent the fight from ever becoming stale, even for a second, and signify escalation in the fight.
And it's kind of crazy to think that this is all like American Animator, I think. If like I don't know like the company that animated all this stuff, but like generally like I mean even at this time, like was this like 15-ish years ago? Something like that. 20 years ago? I don't remember. At the time, you know, Dragon Ball Z was a thing. Everyone was like losing their shit over like Dragon Ball Z, and the animation that was going on. So for them to like come out with something pretty respectable like this, it's like at that time, very commendable.
Once they get to the cliff with Yavin Prime in the background, we get some of the best visuals in not only animated Star Wars history, but in my opinion, in Star Wars, period. Of course, we have to talk about the music. What would Star Wars be without incredible music? Like the visuals and the in-universe sounds and the sound effects, the music is also incredibly important for the vibe of this duel, and it
I mean, but understandably, if you play the music, you're probably gonna get DMCA'd, whatever.
is constantly changing. It starts off slightly more fun and upbeat, then slowly becomes darker and more intense, just
Badass.
like the fight itself. If any of these elements were lacking, the fight wouldn't work nearly as well. The conclusion of this fight is, to me, some of the best 45 seconds ever put to screen. Anakin had clearly taken control of the fight by this point.
You know what kind of vibe I get from this? I kind of get like Samurai Jack vibes whenever it's like a gigantic zoom out and then you see like some shit in the foreground happening and it's like almost like a painting type of deal, because that's the same vibe that Samurai Jack was going for.
But he slips up a little bit and allows Ventress to rid him of his lightsaber. But when she goes for the killing strike, he grabs both of her arms. Duel of the Fates plays. He takes one of her lightsabers and then he goes full Vader, full dark side, and gives into his anger and slams his lightsaber onto hers until the ground beneath her breaks and she plummets to her death.
Oh yeah, that is very. I think this was all planned out. I mean, obviously, but like looking back at it, because when I was a little kid, I didn't really pay attention to this. It's like, this is crazy.
I'm getting chills while typing this.
Yeah.
Ventress's scream as she falls to her death is bone-chilling, as is Anakin's scream immediately following. Then he tosses her lightsaber down as well.
Getting goosebumps
I was
right now.
mind blown and shocked when I first watched this. I did not necessarily expect Ventress to die. I really liked her character, and it all happened so fast that I kind of just sat there for a second like, what just happened? This was another huge step towards Anakin's turn to the dark side. After killing the Tusken Raiders in Attack of the Clones, his full embrace of anger led to his victory, and we can tell that he loved the way it felt.
Oh yeah.
The dangling carrot that is the dark side of the Force is right there. It's only a matter of time before he takes it. As Yoda said, quicker, easier, more seductive. We even see flashes of Yoda and Qui-Gon as he is attacking.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh no, what would they think?
Ventress at the end, as if they're warning him against this path. He also,
But like, did she actually die from that? Because that she just like fell into like a darkness or whatever. So that's like, it still leaves like some room for like, I mean, I forgot if she's like alive or not. But you know how it leaves like some room for like if she's alive. She grabbed onto like a random thing at the bottom, or like, I mean, what is she tired? She can't like force pull herself to like either slow down or like grab something.
disobeyed Obi-Wan following Ventress to Yavin 4 in the first place. Like everything in the prequel era, this battle, and particularly the conclusion, went exactly as Sidious planned and wanted. For my money, one of the all-time great Star Wars moments that has stuck with me ever since I watched it for the first time. As to why Anakin won and Ventress lost, there are a couple reasons. Of course, the obvious one is that Anakin is just more powerful, and you see this more and more as the fight goes along. Ventress controls the first half of the fight, using the Force in unexpected and unique ways, and taking advantage of the surroundings to throw Anakin off balance. But the longer the fight goes, the more angry, aggressive, and powerful he becomes, and he takes control of the fight and never lets go. Even after losing his lightsaber, he is easily able to overpower Ventress and win the duel. Truly a tale of two duels. Another element, though, that I alluded to before is that I think Ventress made a massive mistake leading Anakin to the Massassi Temple. It was pretty clear that she was way better off in the jungle with all of the trees, vines, logs, and tree branches that she could use that seemed to better suit her fighting style. Once they went to the temple, it became much more about raw power.
Yeah, it's 1v1 final destination, no items except like a couple little rocks you just picked up and threw. And at that point, it just becomes, it's just raw skill. And when you don't have the raw skill, you got to depend on items. You got to use the item pickups.
And Anakin wins that battle every single time. Unless he makes a massive mistake, which he almost did towards the end, you can only hang with someone like that for so long. Guys, this is my favorite lightsaber fight of all time. And after fully analyzing it, it's not even particularly close.
Dang.
They got absolutely everything right and did not waste a single second. The battle itself is only about 7 minutes long, yet I am easily able to talk about it for much longer because of the incredible amount of detail that they put into it. The fight is visually gorgeous from start to finish and gets even more so as it goes along. The setting is constantly changing to keep.
I mean, shit, a 7-minute fight? That's a lot of time in terms of like animation. Like, like a 7-minute. I mean, a 7-minute fight with like real people takes a lot of like time and effort and choreography, but like even frame wise for like animation, like that's still a lot of frames. Like, holy shit.
Keep it interesting. The characters have very unique fighting styles, and the choreography is incredible. Nothing about the animation is dated whatsoever. Every detail has aged flawlessly. The sound effects are great.
Oh yeah, because they went for the stylistic approach as opposed to like realistic. Anytime you go like stylism over realism, your piece of media is going to just last many more years. Because if you go for realism, it shows its age. Give it enough time.
And there are so many small visual and audible cues that add layers to the battle and make it more unique and memorable. The music is perfect. Not only do the music and visuals change as the fight goes along, but the characters get noticeably battered as well. This has everything you want in a lightsaber battle and more. I feel like this and the show don't get talked about nearly enough. It is one of my favorite.
And it really should, because this isn't even like a lightsaber fight between masters. This is just a lightsaber fight between two like Padawans, more or less. And if this looks this good, like imagine what we could have had with like the master level fighters. Like, oh, it could have been so much better. Oh, again, I am referencing Star Wars dropping the ball yet again.
Star Wars projects ever. Between this and Samurai Jack, Tartakovsky is an absolute genius. But the question is, what do you think of this fight? Assuming that you have seen it, is it also your favorite lightsaber duel of all time? If it's not, what is? Drop a comment below. I'm going to be doing a lot more Star Wars content coming up. That will be my main focus, at least for a while. So if you're interested in seeing more of that, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post a video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Likes are so important for YouTube channels. They are everything. And stay tuned for some more fun Star Wars content. I will see you soon.
Nice. I mean, shit, dude. Like, stuff like this, where it's like, this is what Star Wars could have been. and highlighting stuff that was made in the past to show how good it was in the past is, I think, like super important. Why is it like that? I mean, it's super important because it just I mean, yeah, you said in the beginning it's not canon, which is fine, but like it still exists. Okay? Which is kind of weird because if you can see this on Disney Plus, but it's not canon, I mean, what do they classify this as? Like some sort of like Marvel What If series? It's Star Wars What If? I mean, everybody knows this used to be canon until the little transition when George Lucas sold his stuff to like Kathleen Kennedy or whatever, and then all of a sudden, all the books are not canon, all video games not canon, everything that isn't the movies isn't canon anymore. It's like, okay, whatever, you're stupid. Um, but yeah, stuff like this video was fantastic, dude. Yeah, 100%. Keep it up, dude. I'm a fan now. But yeah. Uh, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.